Hey guys, what's going on? Common question that we get here at UGR is, what animal is going to be the easiest for me to take care of? And the hard part about answering that question is it really depends on a few main variables. Now right now, you might be wondering, why are we in this room? This is one of our stock rooms here, where we distribute out dry goods and setups. And I brought in a couple animals as an example here. In a moment, I'll talk to you more about those. When it comes to setup. So the questions that you want to answer for yourself, one is space. What kind of space do you have, right? Because there are animals that are easy to take care of, and what one person might think is easy to take care of requires a lot of space, right? Or it may be an animal that you're not or focus less on the spacing of, or more on the spacing of. The other question that you have to ask yourself is what your temperatures look like. What kind of diet you want to offer, right? Some people think that animal that eats only greens and fruits and stuff like that, that's an easy diet versus one that eats crickets or mice. Some people have no problem storing frozen rats in their freezer and thawing them out and wants to get a 6-month supply. So those are some of the basic questions that you want to ask yourself. Again, what kind of space do you have? What kind of temperatures do you generally keep inside your house? South Florida, we keep it in the 70s usually. It's not too hard to keep it there for us. But if you're like way up north, I know people call us up like, my house is like 60 degrees all year long. I mean, it's pretty rough, The other thing to consider as well is the diet. So if you figured out those kind of things and you landed on an animal that you wanted, here are some of the recommendations that we have. Typically speaking, snakes are going to be one of the easiest animals to keep. This, for example, is just a baby corn snake, right? I'm going to open this up so you can get a good look at them, right? This is what they start off as. This baby's going to eat pinky mice. You can buy 100 pack of pinky mice that's going to last you for months. Because remember, they're only going to eat about once a week, right? You start them off, you take a look at some of our tanks here. We've got 20 gallons and 10-gallon tank. A 20-gallon tank, typically speaking, is going to last an adult corn snake their whole life. So if you get a 20-gallon tank or one of our setups online, it's got the lighting, it's got the hides, a water dish, substrate. You're generally going to want to keep like an aspen bedding, which looks something like this right here. All right. That's all you need. Easy to spot clean, right? But some people are like, I don't want to touch rodents. That's not my thing, Well, what we would probably recommend if you're looking for something that stays smaller, all right, and doesn't require feeding rodents, you could do either a tarantula. This is an Arizona blonde right here, or an emperor scorpion right here. All right. Now, these are some of the easier arachnids to keep. Now, some people don't want to touch their arachnids. You can go with some of the other ones, which are more aggressive. This is an example of a striped knee tarantula, and not for handling. Arizona blondes and emperors typically can be handled more, and then there's some others that fall kind of in between. Now, the beautiful thing about some of these scorpions and tarantulas is if you're a minimalist, you can keep them in this container, which is one of our, I think, the H4 containers that we offer. All right, and it's super easy. You open up the latch, you drop a couple crickets in there twice a week. All right, maybe even once a week. A little bit of water in there, mist it down. Those are super simple, but some people like to handle their animals. And again, this is an animal that can't stay or can't get too warm, so you want to make sure that they're kept at room temperature. Some other animals, I'm going to take you guys upstairs. We'll show you guys some of our geckos and stuff like that. Those would be a little bit better for somebody who's wanting to handle their animal more, doesn't want to mess around with lighting. They can be kept at room temperature. We're actually in the process of moving around some of our breeders right now, but we've got like crested geckos and gargoyle geckos, and those guys are super, super simple to not only take care of, but also they don't require heat. All right, here's one of our gargoyle gecko breeders, as you can see there. All right, now we're moving around in some tubs right now. This is what some of our tubs look like for breeding. We give them some moss to lay their eggs in, small water dish, put the food down. They eat a paste, which you take some powder. It's a either Repesci or Pangea crested gecko diet. You mix in some water. And people that don't want to touch insects or do rodents, that's ideal. No heat light, no UVB light, no live insects if you really don't want to. They still will take live insects. But that's a super easy animal to both handle, care for, doesn't require a whole lot. And we've got kits and setups online for those as well. Again, spacing purposes, it's going to be a little bit bigger than your tarantulas, but you can get like a 12 by 12 by 18 tank or one of our setups, 10 gallon, 20 gallon setup, and that's fine their whole lives. So just again to recap, when you're looking at some of the animals, or you're asking the question, what's going to be the easiest animal to take care of? Answer this question first. What kind of temps are you able to keep them in? What kind of spacing do you have available? And are you really interested in handling the animal a lot, or you prefer not to? And then also diet. All right, so once you consider those things, hit us up, give us some of that information, and we'll guide you to your next new pet. Thank you.